Thinking.
There.
Okay. All right, good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Hance. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator with Greensboro Parks and Recreation. We'll give it a few seconds for people to join us, but while we're waiting for people to join us, just a reminder, the U.S. Census is going on currently. So be sure to visit our website. It's greensboro-nc.gov/census. And that's going to take you to a page with a lot of different information about the census if you've not taken it yet. It is really important that we do that. So be sure you just check out that page for lots of really great information. All right, so on with today's show. Again, my name is Jennifer Hance. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator with Greensboro Parks and Recreation, and we are really excited to be kicking off the Great Greensboro Camp-In this week. This is our first ever, and we're so excited about it. The whole Facebook Lives, all the Facebook Lives this week will be teaching you something about camping, which is very fun. Today we're going to be working with Mikey, and we're going to be learning about some critters that maybe you might see in your yard when you're camping. And then tomorrow we're going to be learning how to build tents. We're going to be building fires in fire pits on Wednesday. Thursday we're going to be cooking, and Friday we're going to be doing some activities. And then Saturday is the day to do your camping in your backyard, in your living room, wherever you want to do it within your house and your yard. So we're really excited about that, and we hope that you'll join us throughout the week for that. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Mikey, and we're going to see some fun things that you might be able to see on Saturday.
So camping still counts with like pillow forts and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, we're doing indoor. So you can do forts, you can do a tent, you can do a tarp tent, you can do whatever you want.
Right. So pillows, blankets, pillow fort, and Scooby-Doo cartoons still counts.
It does. Absolutely.
I want to make sure I can take part properly. So
we're going to be showing people tomorrow how to make pillow forts.
Oh. So I should have done a program on how to watch Scooby-Doo properly?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Next week, everybody. All right. So anyway, Mike Romano, I'm your environmental education specialist for the city. For a couple different animals you may or may not see either in your backyard or even when you're out walking the trails in the area. So today is all native animals, which means it lives here. You can find it outside. So we'll start off with them. Nothing too crazy. I think I traumatized Jennifer a little bit last week.
He did, just a little bit, y'all.
Unfortunately, we don't have any giant tarantulas living in Greensboro, except for the ones that we put at Jennifer's house over the weekend. So other than that, pretty good stuff. So we're going to start off with a celebrity, actually. So this guy's really cool. He's very fun. He's actually your state reptile. And he's got wood shavings everywhere. All right, everybody. So this is Frank. Frank is an eastern box turtle. And this guy is the state reptile of North Carolina. They're really neat. They're in their scientific, their Latin name is Terrapini carolina. So their species name is actually Carolina. So there you go. So yeah, they're kind of named after a state reptile, all that kind of fun stuff. So these guys are really, really cool. Frank is awesome. He's not too shy. Give him a second, he'll start wandering around. Now these guys are really cool. They'll walk around all over the woods, different meadows. They'll even be in like some suburban areas if there's a little bit of tree cover and whatnot for them. They're really neat. They can live a very long time. They can live 100 years or more sometimes. So they have a very long lifespan. And the fun thing is, if they're left alone in the wild, they'll live in this same area of about a couple of acres, maybe about the size of a football field roughly, their whole life. So they know where all their dens are, where their food is, where their mates are, that kind of fun stuff. And with these guys, a lot of turtles have almost like a homing instinct in their head. They know where their home is. So if you ever see one on the side of the road, and a lot of people see them kind of crossing, it's great to stop and put them off the side of the road so they don't get hit by cars. They're not the fastest. They don't do so well on traffic, kind of like certain people. But with these guys, make sure that whoever's taking them off the road, puts them the way they're going. So if they're aiming a certain direction, trying to get across, don't back them up because they don't really understand that they shouldn't go. They just keep trying to go that way. So let's put them in the direction they're going. Okay. Now, another thing with these guys, if you have to move them, or some people have actually taken them home and tried to make pets out of them, they're getting really rare. They don't do so well in captivity unless you have a really proper setup for them with the right kind of lighting and enclosure and that kind of stuff. But some people will take them and try to keep them pets, and then it's a little bit of work or too expensive, and they put them back. Make sure they go back where they came from exactly. If you put them in a new area, they won't know where they are and they don't really understand how to find resources. Plus, they'll always try to get back to their original home. So, like I have Frank because somebody probably took him out of the wild a long time ago, had him as a pet for a while, and then didn't want him anymore. And I was able to adopt him, but since I don't know where he came from, he's kind of stuck with me. And I'm happy to have him, but I feel bad that he can't be out in the woods running amok. Now with these guys, though, if you put them too far from their home, they have that homing instinct. They will try and figure out, like, that way's home, and they're going to go. Now, if they're very, very close, hopefully they can get there. If they are too far away, there's roads, there's cars, there's, scary dogs, all that kind of stuff that could hurt them or make them not get there. So if you ever have to move one, make sure you put it back right where you found it.
So can they readapt their homing instincts or no?
Not really. Like if you put them in a spot, they will almost always try to get back there.
Okay.
If you put them in a new spot, they won't know where any of their food resources are, good spots to kind of hole up for safety or bad weather. Most of the time, they'll probably perish before they're able to readapt. And they're just kind of going to try and get home. Most of the box turtles that I've come in contact with or had to adopt are because they were people's pets or they got moved and then they can't go back where they came from originally.
So we had a question on where do you keep him at home?
Okay, so he lives actually in the classroom.
Oh, okay.
And he's got a pretty big enclosure with mulch to kind of dig in, a nice water area. He's got lighting on the top of him, and with turtles, just like you need basically vitamin D. You get it from the sun. It helps in your system. These guys need sunlight to really process some of that vitamin. So since if they're not outside, you have to have special lighting, UVB lighting on him to kind of give him that sunlight. So otherwise his shell will kind of soften up and his bones won't grow right. So to keep him healthy, he's got to have that right kind of lighting. They're omnivores, so which means they eat plants and meat. So he'll eat all kinds of everything he eats, fruits and vegetables. He loves like strawberries and whatnot. He also loves big, fat, juicy nightcrawler earthworms and crickets once in a while. So pretty much anything that he can come across, these guys will eat. They're really neat. Now the fun thing with these guys, I know before we've talked about certain animals that can be venomous or poisonous or whatnot. This guy's not, venomous of course. Technically he's not poisonous, but you should never, ever try to eat a box turtle, aside from the fact that they're adorable, okay?
Do people eat turtles?
Some people eat
Some
turtles.
people do.
Did not know that.
Yeah, not a big one. Usually it's snapping turtles and sliders and whatnot, but early settlers to the country used to catch and eat box turtles, and it did not go well for them because box turtles, one of their favorite foods in the wild. You know those mushrooms that grow in your backyard or in the woods? Box turtles will eat them, and they're delicious. Now, if you've ever seen those, and an adult is like, "Hey, don't touch those. Those are poisonous," because they are. If we eat them, we're gonna get massively ill or worse. Box turtles will happily eat them. Nom 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 nom. Great. But after they eat the poisonous mushroom, and then early settlers went on would eat the box turtle, it would not go well.
Right.
So they would get very, very ill, and it would be like blah 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 out of both ends and not happy. So while they're not a poisonous animal, certain things in their diet can make them a little noxious to humans. So never ever eat box turtles.
So we have two questions.
Yes.
So Shelly is wondering if there's a way to tell if it's the same turtle that she sees every year.
I mean, if she's visiting the classroom, then yes, it's that one.
It's Frank. No, at her house. Like, if she's seeing the same, is it most likely the same turtle?
Most likely it's the same turtle. I mean, if you look at their shell is like perfectly unique to them. They have the basic same pattern, but there are certain markings that will be unique, like a fingerprint. So she can look at it really closely and kind of figure out if that's her turtle. But most likely, there's a couple of turtles within a certain couple of acres, and they'll see them all the time. When I was, when you're outside, especially like with a big tract of woods and whatnot, sometimes you'll see the same turtle every couple of years. You'll find that same turtle within like 20 feet of where you found it last time. So they just kind of rove their area.
And then Courtney was wondering if, Frank is male or female, and then how do you tell?
Okay, so yes, Frank is a male. You find out with Italian food and candles. Okay, so box turtles are actually pretty easy. So the rough rule is looking at their eye color. If you look at Frank's eyes, they're kind of like a reddish orange color.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So males are kind of like a reddish orange color. Can you see it okay?
I think think so.
Okay. Females generally have more of a brown eye color. So the girls are brownish color, males are red. Sometimes it's a little hard depending on the individual if they're younger. So what you do, if you look at the bottom of their shell, so remember like we talked about in past programs, top of the shell is called the carapace, bottom's called the plastron. Okay, so two pieces make up the shell. Yeah. Plastron, see that? It's got a little divot. I know it's hard on the phone cam right there, but it's kind of a little dent right there. The males have the dent. It's what's called concave. It kind of bends in a little bit. Females have a straight, flat plastron. So if it's nice and flat, female. A little concave, it's a male. Males have a little bit longer of a tail too. So that's how you tell the boys and the girls. Frank is a boy. Okay, great question. But yeah, they are really cool. They're really neat animals. And we didn't get into it. If you look at them, so all turtles can go into their shell protect to a certain point. Box turtles are the masters. They're called box turtles. If you look at this line right there, it's like a hinge. Their shell can actually move. Oh. So Frank's not really shy, but if he was going to go into his shell, you're pushing against my fingers. But basically, if you look, he can kind of move that a little bit. So he can pull all the way in and close that shell up like a trap door.
You're amazing.
He can close super tight, and almost no predators can get in there. It's basically like a rock. It's going to close it very, very tight, so barely ants can get through that crack. So he is very, very well protected. Now you can tell that Frank is used to being around people, so he's not shy. But if you happen on one of the woods and whatnot, it's usually like until you're gone.
I know with their legs like pull in.
Yes.
But with their neck, does their neck somehow kaleidoscope?
Well, okay, so have you ever, the clothing, like a turtleneck?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. If you look, when he kind of pulls his head in a little bit, the skin kind of rolls up around it, and his whole head comes back. And basically he can kind of go in.
Look at that.
So he kind of pulls it straight back. Now, there are other turtle species, like usually there's certain species in Central and South America and some other places, Africa as well. They're Australia, if I remember. They're called side neck turtles. So when they hide their head goes to the side. Oh. So they pull their arms and their heads to the side, and then they can close their shells to a point. Frank he goes straight back. So there's straight line, and there's the side necks.
Okay,
so they're really, really cool.
So Lindsay asked, how big will they get?
So good question, Lindsay. Frank is he's full size. He's a little on the small side. They can usually get a little bit bigger. On an adult box turtle, 6 to 8 inches. Usually an 8-inch one is like monster. But
is that their shell?
That's their shell. So that's their shell. The rest of them, you got a couple inches on either side when they're kind of stretched out. But Frank is, he's a fully adult male. He's a little on the small side, but I don't know, how old he is, because these guys can live. He could be 30 years old. He could be 73 years old for all I know. I don't know, some of the lines on their shell, sometimes when they're younger you kind of tell, but they're, they kind of muddle together as they get to be an older animal. Mm-hmm. So this guy could have been around for decades for all I know. I only got him, I want to say like 3-4 years ago. So I have no idea how old he is. Plus, depending on his nutrition and how he was kept when he was younger and whatnot, all determines the growth. Yet turtles don't understand being up in the air. They're not big climbers.
He does not get it.
No, he's just like, I want to go.
Sophia wants to learn, how long do turtles sleep?
As long as they want. It depends on the turtle. They can sleep for a couple of hours at a clip. Some are, like he's diurnal. He's going to be awake kind of dawn and dusk, which is crepuscular, sorry, and a little bit during the day. But the hottest parts of the day, he won't be very active. So dawn, dusk, and a little bit during the day. But most of the nighttime, they can be they'll den up and crash out just like we do. But yeah, they can sleep a good couple of hours just like we do.
And then Jackie was wondering, do they bite like a snapping turtle?
Okay, good question, Jackie. So any animal with a mouth can bite. Okay. And he's got that beak, just like the snapping turtle. He's got a beak right there. Okay. Now, I'm not a food source, for one. I'm full of cholesterol. But, he knows I'm not food. But it's also the fact that if you saw the episode of the snapping turtle, she goes into her shell and she can't really fit all the way in, so she's biting to be defensive. He has that defense mechanism. He knows he's used to us, so he knows we're not going to hurt him. But even if he was scared, he could go in and hide, but the snapping turtle can't. So he does not feel the need to Now, if I'm sitting in there like, hi, 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 poking them in the face, which I would bite somebody too, okay? But if I'm sitting there like really bothering him, yes, he could bite me. It's not going to be quite as fast or quite as, his bill's not quite as sharp. That's not, but it could be a good pinch with a little bit of a, he can take a little chunk out. So you never really want to mess with an animal's face. Good question.
So Lindsay asks, do they hibernate when they're kept inside? I know they do when they're outside, but do they do it when they're inside?
Great question. Really, really good. It depends on how you keep them. Frank has been in captivity for so long, he does not hibernate or anymore. Down here, it's kind of almost like a brumation where they kind of get a little lazy, but they don't fully sleep. But either way, Frank stays active all winter. He's indoors. He gets fed. He poops. He's fine. Animals that are newly out of the wild, like if an animal had like gotten injured and it was in rehab and couldn't go out till like the next spring, those will kind of get sluggish and sleep during the winter a lot. But Frank, he's been around people for so long, he's like, nope, food.
So Isaac wants to learn, what happens if a turtle eats too much? Does he get fat and not fit into his shell?
To a point, yeah. So, that's a question. So, yes. So most of the time, wild turtles will not eat. They're like, okay, I'm full, I'm moving on. Most times you see a fat turtle, it's a captive turtle that people have just basically conditioned to eat food. And I've seen, like, especially water turtles, like some of the aquatic sliders people have kept, they get really fat. And it's not that they can't fit into their shell, but like when they kind of close up, you will have little fat rolls kind of squeezing out, you know? It's hard.
It's not swimsuit season, sorry.
Right, exactly. Right. It's all good. But they will, if they eat too much, especially the aquatic turtles, you know, they have a lot of like loose skin to kind of, move around. If they're too overweight, they'll just be kind of like, they'll pull in and you'll see this little lump, little roll sticking out. But if you're keeping it and it's healthy, and you feed it, just the correct amount, you should be fine. They're never too fat in theory for their shell because remember their shell's attached. They can't come out of their shell. So it's not like old T-shirts. I'm like, oh, too much macaroni and cheese. I can't fit in that. There you go. It's like, nope. You got to fit into it because you're attached to it. Good question.
Liam, who is 6, wants to know if box turtles can swim.
To a point, yes. They swim kind of like me, badly. They can go into shallow water and kind of move around. They like to wade, and they can swim a little bit, but if it's too long or too deep and they can't get out, they will drown. If you look, that high domed shell, I'll show you something else in a little bit, but usually the flatter shells, the aquatic turtles, they have the webbed feet. Frank here has a nice domed shell, which usually means a land animal. And if you look at his feet, they're not webbed. They're kind of like a little heavy body, kind of like the big tortoise we saw a couple weeks ago. And that kind of helps him move around. So he's not really the best swimmer. He can swim a little bit, but not much. Like being only doggy paddle, So, good question.
Great questions, everybody.
Yeah, really, really good.
Oh, I had missed. Shelley had asked with the ones that she had seen before, if you could mark them on the underbelly with like fingernail polish or something, or if that's not.
I would not do that. Marking them with fingernail polish, there's always other chemicals and other nasty stuff in fingernail polish that can be toxic. And since this is not impervious, they can absorb stuff through their, it's hard, but they can absorb stuff through their shell. So if you have like a paint or fingernail polish on their shell, they can absorb that toxin into their body and they can make them sick, a little deformed, that kind of stuff. So I remember when I was younger, I heard people, they'd write their initials on a shell and like paint or fingernail polish and like release a turtle. And whenever I found a turtle like that, I always have to like wash it off because it's not good for the turtle. Okay. There are scientific ways to mark the turtle, but that should only be done if you're trained to do so. But it doesn't hurt the turtle or anything like that. But I would not use any kind of chemicals.
Are his nails really sharp? Asked Kate.
No, they're not.
They look sharp.
They're a little sharp. They're not too sharp. They're basically made for walking around and maybe ripping apart, the occasional big strawberry, or something like that, or a big fat earthworm. They're a little prickly. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it would be like a good back scratcher. I'm just gonna, put them on a Post-it. No, but no, they're not too sharp. They're kind of dull. They're good for digging. He likes to dig a little bit. He likes to look around for yummy, delicious bugs and stuff in the wild. So they're not too sharp.
They look like the same nails that guinea pigs have, which is super random, but they do.
Okay.
Their nails look exactly the same.
Oh, okay, cool.
Maybe they're descendants. Maybe not.
That's a big hold.
Maybe not.
Okay, next time, guys, we're going to talk about prehistory and all kinds of animals. I've got like 75 million years to talk about. Good. Nicely done. But yeah, guinea pigs are, very cool though. Fortunately, these guys squeal less.
Yes.
And the fun thing with turtles, they are actually, unlike the mammals, they can go like a healthy turtle can stop eating and not eat for weeks, and they can store fat. So I never suggested, of course, if you're taking care of one, but in times of like rough times, they can go for weeks without eating. So they're really, really tough, resilient animals. They're really awesome. There's box turtles pretty much all over the eastern seaboard. And if you go west, there's different species of box turtles like Gulf Coast and three-toed and that kind of stuff. But this is our local kid, the eastern box turtle, and if you're in your backyard or by some woods, you may see them, especially if you go out like right after a rain, especially when it's warm out. They love to come out because that's when all the big fat earthworms are out, so it's all good.
Pamela said we just found a turtle in our backyard, likely a snapping turtle.
Okay, very cool, great find. Say hi to it from afar and don't muck with it. Yeah. But excellent find.
Sebastian wants to know how many different species of turtle live in North Carolina.
Oh, goodness my. That's a great question. You have to give me a minute because you've got... Hold on.
You want me to Google it?
You can Google it to see if I'm right.
Yeah.
We're going to count everybody today, One turtle. So we got box turtles, we've got snapping turtles, we've got yellow-bellied sliders, we have got cooters, we've got soft-shell turtles in a very small area, we've got bog, I think we've got blandings here. We're not counting sea turtles because those are off the coast, and we're just that's just cheating right there.
Yep.
We don't have any more land turtles. We've got diamondback terrapins. I mean, there's definitely red-eared sliders, but those are an invasive species, so we're not going to count them. We'll talk about them in a minute. I'm trying to think. And I think we have a small population of Florida of red-bellied turtles towards the coast. Okay. And of course there's mud turtles, musk turtles, so we're on 11. Mud, musk, snapping, chili. Sorry, I know you guys are going through this with me. I'm running my head. I want to say there's 11. I want to say there's 12 species of turtle in North Carolina. If I'm remembering everything. Jennifer, you can Google me and double check me. I will not be offended because
I'll Google.
That's a great question.
While we're switching animals out, I'll Google.
Right.
Pamela said, yes, I remember from the eco bus to stay away from snapping turtles.
Nicely done. Good job. Yay for remembering stuff. Good questions, guys. But from now on, only ask me stuff that I know so I look smart. If I think about it, I don't look so smart. No, just kidding. Good questions. I hope I'm close to being right.
Okay.
Working on it.
I'm not right. I'm going to be ashamed of myself.
It says 20.
20?
But I think they might be counting... They're counting 5 sea turtles.
Aha. Okay. So I was close-ish.
You were close, yeah.
I was close-ish. Okay, so 20 guys, we count sea turtles. All right. Same conversation. I'm going to go and look this up now so I can make sure I remember everybody. All right, so good job. So say bye to Frank. Sorry, guys. So next one is going to be one of the more common animals you will see in your yards or anywhere in the woods. These guys are really neat. They're all over the place. Hi, Stuart. This is Stuart. Stuart is a black rat snake. He is very friendly and gorgeous. He gets half of that from me. So he's a black rat snake. He's very harmless. He's very sweet, non-venomous at all. Otherwise, let Jennifer. No. Yeah, right. He's really good. Yeah, these guys are the ones you see pretty much all over the place. They're really great to have around your house.
Wow, what are you doing with your tail, bud?
You trying to hold on?
What are you doing?
He just wanted an anchor point. It's all good. Stuart's a bit of an older gentleman, so his coordination might not be the best as it used to be. He's a bit of an older boy, but he is great. These guys get a little bit bigger than this. I've seen them a little heftier, another almost can be up to almost a foot longer, but they're absolutely harmless. You see them out in the woods, just leave them alone, check them out. They're not going to hurt you. The only time you ever get bitten by one, which by the way is just harmless, just more scary than anything, is if you're messing with it. Okay, when they're little, their babies are really cute. They're gray with black markings. A lot of people think that the babies are like little copperheads because of the saddles on them, but as they get older, within the second or third year, they turn all black like this. But the babies are absolutely harmless too. You can always tell a baby copperhead because it's got a bright green tail. Okay, that'll inflate it all the way as they get larger too. I did not bring a copperhead, sorry. But you can see he's just checking things out. He's using that tongue, that nice forked tongue. This is a new spot for him, so he's flicking that tongue. Now, that tongue he's scenting with. He's seeing if we are dangerous predators, if there's anything to be worried about. Maybe somebody brought a nice delicious rat for him to eat. He's just seeing what's going on. So when they're slithering around, they're flicking that tongue. If you see it's forked so they can kind of figure out which direction to go. Snake eyesight is not the best. Got to remember they're usually on the ground, so they can't see up all that well. So when they're flicking their tongue, it's forked for steering. They can figure out which way to go. Like, oh, it smells more like rat on this side, so they're going to go towards the food. When it goes back in the mouth, they're getting all the scent particles on the tongue. It goes back in the mouth into something called the Jacobson's organ. It slides right into the top, into like these little slats, and it kind of interprets what is like, oh, dangerous predator, yummy delicious rat, that kind of thing, and then they know whether to go 2, 4, that kind of stuff. But they get a lot of sensory information from that tongue.
So are rats the only things they eat?
No.
Okay.
No, these guys are pretty opportunistic. They'll eat most warm-blooded animals. So rats, mice, I'm sure big ones will occasionally catch a squirrel maybe. They'll eat birds, that kind of stuff. Anything like that. These guys will climb trees. They're arboreal, which means they like to climb a little bit. So sometimes they'll go up into trees, into nests and eat birds and whatnot. But these guys are really good. If you have them around your house, they're really great. A lot of people get afraid of snakes. They don't want them and this and that. But these guys, they're harmless. They're harmless. They're not ever going to hurt you unless you're messing with them. But if you have them around your house, you won't have any rats or mice or pest animals. Okay? And the fun thing with that, if you don't have any rats or mice, it's good for your house and you don't have them in your house or anything. But if there's no food, you won't have any dangerous snakes moving in, like a copperhead. Because if you have rats and mice, any species can move in, like, oh, food. Like, if you have calzones in your house, I will probably be lurking around somewhere.
You're going to move in?
Right. Oh, it smells like Italian food. Oh, there's Mikey, honey. Yeah. But if you have this guy around, he'll eat up all the food, and there's no other food for the snakes you don't want around, or other animals,
Kate said they may or may not have used black snakes to help with their mouse and rat problem at work.
That's a beautiful thing, yeah. That's the best kind of biological kind of help. It's better than chemicals and everything else, so yeah.
So Kennedy, who is 6, would like to know, why is his tongue black?
Just the color of his tongue, it kind of helps him blend in. So, if it was a different color, it might kind of show him up when he was like slithering along. He's dark, he's black, he's kind of like sneakily slithering around the forest, trying to kind of creep up on food. And if it was a bright red tongue, it might give him away. So it's just kind of the coloration. Everybody has a slightly different thing, but his tongue's black because it kind of blends in with the rest of them. So. And
then Kim wanted to know, can they hurt your pets? So like if they were in your backyard.
They not really. No, good question. They can't like if you have like a little kitten or one of those little purse dog, kind of like a little tiny dog, and it was messing with him, he could bite at it. He's not gonna hurt it, but he might bite like, hey, leave me alone. Yeah. Leave me alone. So as long as they're not being messed with, they won't bite. And their bite is basically it's like almost like you're getting a scratch. It's not gonna hurt you or anything like that. They're not venomous. It's not gonna kill a pet or anything like that. What else they can do, by the way, so he's being really good, and I'm hoping, sometimes he does it just for fun, which these guys can musk. So if I'm biting, if that biting doesn't work, they can actually, at the back end, they exude this gloppy stuff, and it stinks to high heaven, and they'll musk. And it smells so bad. Most predators, usually when it's a predator response, if something's messing with them, predators are like, oh, I want to eat you. And like, oh, no, you smell rancid. And they run away,
So Evelyn wants to know how big they can get.
Okay, good question, Evelyn. So they can get a little bit bigger than this. You can get about 6 feet long and maybe about that thick on a big honker. He's a good sized boy, but they can get a little bit bigger than him. He's not going to really grow anymore. Reptiles will grow their entire life. But what it is, when they hit a certain point, they grow slow. So every time he sheds, which he'll shed every month and a half to 2 months, he's growing a little bit. He's not growing like a foot. He's growing a little bit. So he's not going to get much bigger than this. Good question.
Jen said that she may or may not have used snake skins that she finds in her yard as Halloween decorations.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I mean, those are really cool Halloween decorations. They're neat looking. They're a lot of fun. Snake skins are pretty awesome. And it's probably easier to clean up than that you know, that webbing stuff
That
that goes
cobweb
everywhere. Oh
stuff.
my gosh. The only thing worse than that is Easter grass. That's everywhere. So yeah, no, good
Glitter.
stuff.
Glitter's worse.
So yeah, but he is really cool. It is very quite possible you will see them in your yard, especially like on a nice warm morning. They come out and they'll like lie on
They'll sun.
they'll sun themselves like on the log or the deck or something. They'll sun themselves, get some sun, get warmed up, and then kind of move on with their day to kind of go see what's going on, check things out. When you're hiking on a trail, you go early in the morning. There'll be like a sunbeam coming through the woods onto the log. They'll be like, you know, hang out right there. But they're really cool. They're really neat. They're real docile. Now we do have a species in the state called black racers. Black racers look a lot like these, but they're a lot thinner, narrower head, bigger eyes. Black racers are super fast and a little gripey. They, you know, you ever try to grab one, they will nip you. But if you that would be if you can catch it. They are zippy fast. Where this guy's kind of chill. Now these guys can move, you know, when they're trying to get away from you, but if you startle a racer, it's going to be gone before you even know it. So
Bryce wants to know, how do you tell if it's a boy or a girl?
Italian food candles, just like no. Sorry, we just did a box roll. So with snakes, it's a little hard depending on the species, but you can get a basic idea, basically depending on the length of their tail. So you know, wind up on me.
Yep.
I'm going to bring the camera up a little bit. So if you look right where my thumb is, see that flat scales right there? Underneath those scales is snake bum. All right, so when they got to go to the bathroom, they'll be slithering along, and that tail will go up, that scales will go down, and that's, you know, backside. But see, from where my thumb is, from that area all the way down, see how long his tail is. A female is going to have a much shorter tail. Her female will probably have a tail to there. So boys have a longer tail, and it's a little thicker right there. Okay. There's also something you can do if you're a professional called probing with a little metal rod, but leave that to vets and people who have done it before. It's no fun for anybody. But you can get a good guesstimate of what he is from tail length and that kind of thing. So unless you're going to breed him, you don't really need to worry about it. But good question, though. And let's talk about snake butt, so that's good.
Who knew snakes had a bum?
Well,
I mean, I guess it makes sense. It has to, but
it has to, because you know they eat. So he eats once a week.
Yeah.
Takes 5 to 7 days to digest, and then it's got to come out, and then it's hungry again.
Yeah.
So when
Makes sense.
it goes in this end,
It's got to come out somewhere.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people when I was starting these, they had asked me, you know, they thought like they would eat, and then if they had to poop, they would come right back out the top.
Oh.
They didn't realize that there was a hole in the other end. So yeah, snakes have an in and an out. So
Learn something new every day.
right. So I'm gonna put him up. I got one more animal for you guys. If you have any more questions,
Bye, Stuart.
He can't.
He can stick his tongue out of this.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
Is our other friend the one that's been making all the noise over there, or is that
Yeah.
Frank?
Yeah, no, she's a little clunky. She doesn't like her box.
Oh, okay. We've had one that's been making a lot of noise down there. I don't. You guys might not be able to hear it, but she is ready. It was me. No.
Come on, Stuart.
Yes.
Stuart does not want to wind back up. He wants to explore.
He wants to run amok.
So Megan was wondering. She said she has one that lives under her house.
Good job, Megan.
She says she's happy to have him or her around, but is there any chance it might wander into her house?
I mean, there's always a chance of everything. If it's a good question. No, it's a great question. If your house is like shut up tight, you got like open vents and lots of holes like under doors and stuff, it's a possibility. Most of the time with human smell stuff, they don't want to come in. No disrespect, but if like you like in the colder months, if you get like mice and rats and stuff that come into your house, the snake might follow looking for food and warmth. But if your house is kind of shut up tight, you know, and that kind of thing, you're solid. You're good. Snakes can I mean, it's with all love and respect, snakes can smell you. Snakes can smell all of it. They're very good sense of smell, so they know that human scent, and they don't want to, be around it because even Stuart, Stuart, we're Godzilla. Snakes slithering out of here. We're 5-6 feet. They don't want to be around us. So they come in. It's a desperation thing. But if your house is kind of tight, they're not going to fight to get into your house. No. Good question, though. All right. Got one more for you guys. This one's kind of a little bit of an oddball. Okay. She's shedding.
Oh.
Yeah, she knows shedding. So, all right, guys, this is a red-eared slider. So we have sliders. I think we talked about it a little bit. We have sliders all over the state, and any kind of like whenever you're driving around or walking or whatever, you see like a body of water with like a log out there. I forgot painted turtle. I can't believe I forgot painted turtles when I was counting everything up before. I stink. Sorry. It's to remember every species I forgot is going to get me now. Sorry, I'm a terrible, terrible professional. Wow, I stink. Anyway, most of what you see on those logs when you're like passing like a lake or a pond or whatever, sunning are sliders. Now, in this state, we have yellow-bellied sliders. Those are our native species. They're really cool. We see them crossing the roads. They're awesome. This is a red-eared slider. Now, red-ears are what's called an invasive species. They live here now. You can see them all over the place, but they're not supposed to be here. These guys are very, very popular in the pet industry. People get them as little babies, and then a lot of times they get like fibbed to by, when you buy them at the beach, like, oh, they can live in a little plastic tank, and that's a big fib. They'll die in that little plastic tank. They need a big setup, big filter, the right lighting, and they get huge. So a female can get, dinner plate size. Males get a little bit bigger than this, but the females can get huge, humongous. For a pet, I mean, not compared to like sea turtle. But they need a lot of room and a lot of equipment to keep them properly, or if you have your own pond outside. But what happens is most people get these, and then they realize it's too expensive. It's very messy. Water turtles are generally a little bit on the gripey side, so they might be a little nippy, and they don't want them. They're not the best pets. They're cute. They're not the best pets, so they don't want them. And most people who have them can't take more. Rescues can't take, because this is one of those animals that floods the market. Like, unfortunately, like shelters have way too many dogs and cats in homes. When it comes to like the weird exotics and the reptiles, these are one of those animals that there's so many of them, and there's no place for them. So people will throw them out into lakes and ponds and whatnot else, where I understand they think they're doing a good thing. And these guys, most animals, when you let a wild animal go, will die. Sliders generally actually have a really good chance. They can adapt to life in this state, so they can live in our lakes and ponds. That sounds great for them, but it's not good for the native species, because they're going to outcompete them for food, mates, that kind of stuff. So these guys are really cool. You can find them all over. They're not supposed to be here, but you can find them. In fact, they're actually hybridizing with our native yellow bellies. So sometimes you'll find little cute babies who are adorable, but with little orange stripes on them, because we're losing, our native species, and they're kind of mixing it up. They're great turtles. They just don't belong here, but they're everywhere. Now you can tell that this is a female, a little different from the box turtles. Remember I was talking about, it's an aquatic turtle, so you got that flatter shell, and then you got the webbed feet on the back there to help swim. So these guys are in the water. They're fast. They're great. And you can tell it's a female. If you look at those front claws, don't nip me, you. Yeah.
She's like, why are you touching me so much?
Who's a real teacher? How are our ratings? There you go. No. But if you look at those front claws, they're good sized claws, but they're not crazy. Males have super long, like Freddy Krueger looking claws, because you know how like on birds have the males have the brighter plumage to flirt with the ladies. Turtles, that's what the turtles do. They use those long claws. They do this whole little kind of dance thing to like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Want to go get some lunch? And that's how they flirt with the female turtles, and they court them like that. So the males will be much smaller than the females. The females get much bigger than the males. The males will have these crazy long Freddy Krueger looking claws in order to flirt with the girls. So this is a female. Okay, she's, I'd say, very sweet, but she's
she keeps
trying to bite me. I'm fibbing. But they're very cool. They're very neat turtle. They're really adaptable. They would normally come from kind of like Gulf Coast area states, a little further south and west, but they're pretty much here now. But you will see them sometimes. You're sitting on the logs or just walking across the yard. It's about that time of year that they're either looking for mates or probably another mother looking for places to lay eggs, because these guys are egg layers, and they'll mate in early spring, drop some eggs, and the eggs will hatch mid to late summer, sometimes in the early fall.
Do all turtles lay eggs?
Yes.
Okay, so they're all
yes. So yes, reptiles are weird. So snakes, you got a half and half. Right. Some are live, some are eggs. Mm-hmm. Lizards, a lot of them will lay eggs, but you have a couple that are live birth. Mm-hmm. With turtles, all turtles will lay eggs. Just like all crocodilians, which I don't have yet. All crocodilians will lay eggs too. But yeah, good question.
So Nita said they adopted we adopted a 10-year-old boy, a red-eared slider.
Nice.
He was already 6 inches. He knows how to surf in his deck. Can they bite? was her question. She said hers is a pet, so he's on the tame side.
Okay, that's good. And remember, my thing is anything with a mouth can bite.
Yep.
Yes, yours can bite. If he's on the tame side, great. I would always be a little leery of putting your fingers in their mouth. Even if they're not being grouchy, they might, because they're used to people, they might like, is that food? You know, because they're very food motivated. These guys tend to be a little grabby. You know, she's a pet. I did not raise her from a baby. But basically, if you raise it from a little one or it's been in captivity, you know, and been handled a little bit, you have a better chance of having a more docile animal. She's pretty good, but she's just letting me know, not the happiest right now. I will nip you if you let me, but she's not like a snapping turtle who's like, it's like, I want her, to eat you.
Bryce, who's 6 years old, says he loves it.
Oh, thank you, Bryce. Appreciate it.
And then Kate is wondering where they lay their eggs.
At the back.
Oh, okay.
So they lay their eggs. They'll actually kind of move around. They'll try to find a spot. Once they've made it, they'll try and find a spot a little bit away from the water. Because like it rains or it storms and the water rises, they don't want the eggs to drown. So they'll try to find a good spot, usually sandy-ish kind of soil, so they need a little bit of peat in there. And, sun hits it, but it's also away from some of the trail. Like some you don't always have the sharpest turtle. They'll lay it like right in the middle of like wherever it is, like walking. Most turtles will try to find a spot where there's not a lot of traffic, so the eggs don't get smushed or dug up, or after they lay the eggs, like there's always kind of like raccoons and coyotes and foxes who will dig up the eggs, and so they try to find like a kind of a secluded spot that gets some sun that's not too far from the water, but far enough to be safe. I know that's a lot of weirdness, because they don't want them to get drowned. But when the babies hatch out, they immediately are looking for the water because they're an aquatic turtle. If they go into the woods, they're not going to do so well. So they want to get them like close enough to the water that the babies can easily get there, without getting munched. Because baby turtles, especially when they hatch, they're teeny and their shells are a little soft when they first hatch. So anything can eat a baby turtle. Once they get larger, the amount of animals that can eat them is lowered. But baby turtles, snacks for everything.
So we have Stephanie is wondering, are box turtles protected?
Okay, so good question, Stephanie. They are, they're protected to a point. It depends on which state you're in. In this state, if you want to have one as a pet, it's generally frowned upon. Because the numbers in the wild are a little lower. You can have one as a pet. If you're going to have more than a couple, you need to register them and get a permit with the Fish and Wildlife Department. Plus, especially if you're taking it out of the wild, you're mucking up like the natural population, and because remember they only live in the same area, so you'll have, say, one male with a number of females, or a couple of males and a couple of females. That they all kind of revolve around each other. If you take one out, you throw the dynamic off. So you can have them as a pet. But if you're going to get one, your best bet is to get it from like a rescue or a wildlife rehabber who has one that can't go back to the wild because it's been injured or displaced or something like that. Those guys, it's not going to impact the wild population because they're already out. Just make sure you have the right setup for. They're great pets, but you need a definitely full setup.
So Elliot wants to know if these are the kind that he always sees at Country Park.
These guys are probably those, yes, but you also have yellow-bellied sliders, which are our native species. So you probably have both there, or some hybrid mixes. But like like Brant, like Higgins and Townsend, we have both species in there. So unless you get really close, you can't tell, but they're very, very similar. So you've got yellow bellies and the invasive red ears here. Good question. Any more?
Okay.
No? All right, so I'm going to put her away. She's like Frank. She's an omnivore. She's a plants and meat eater. When they're little, they eat more meat, more carnivorous stuff, fish, bugs, that kind of stuff. Adults will still eat all that, but they eat a lot more of the aquatic vegetation material. So they like that kind of stuff a little bit more as they get older. Kind of like when you're kids, you want all the junk food, and you want more vegetables as adults. Or at least some adults, I've heard that. I don't. But in theory, you're supposed to eat more vegetables when we're adults. But these guys are really cool like that. And they don't live as long as box turtles. Okay. Aquatic turtles are usually about 30-year animals. But anyway, that's Larry. I'll put her away.
What's her name?
Her name's Larry.
Larry.
Well, because I have to Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. So I know she's a Neo, but it kind of worked. So we just went with it. She doesn't care. So guys, thank you very much for coming to play another week. I will see you next week with a bunch of different stuff. So enjoy camping week, and thanks very much for everything.
Yes, this is great. So keep an eye out for these, during the week and as you're out and about. Be sure to see what sort of native species are in your yard.
Sasquatch.
A Sasquatch, you never know. You never know. So just keep an eye out for those as you're exploring your yards this week. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. we're going to be here again. We're going to show you how to build a pillow blanket fort. We're going to show you how to make a tent out of a tarp. And then we're also going to show you how to put up a tent. So we're really excited about it, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.